Welcome to the most must-hear podcast in history. Welcome to Real Talk. I am your host, Jesse Jones. Let's get this thing started, y'all. Come on. Real Talk's in effect, y'all. Let's start the show. The Real Talk podcast is brought to you by Anchor. Anchor is the easiest way to make a podcast. Anchor gives you everything you need in one place for free, which you can use right from your phone or your computer. Its creation tools allow you to record and edit your podcast so it sounds great. They'll even distribute your podcast for you so it can be heard everywhere, from Spotify to Apple Podcasts and Google Podcasts, and many, many more. You can easily make your money from your podcast with no minimum listenership. All you have to do is download the Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started today. Welcome to Real Talk, y'all. I am your host, Jesse Jones, as always, here live and in effect. Well, not live to you all. This is a recording for you all, but I'm lively doing this. Amen. Yeah, we here again. This is a special edition of Real Talk. And I say it's a special edition only because this is my birthday, y'all. So, happy birthday to me. Happy birthday to me. Happy birthday. No, I'm just playing. I mean, not about my birthday. About saying happy birthday to me. I really am not a fan of celebrating my own birthday at all. Never have been, probably never will be. It's just kind of what it is. But this is different for me this year. This is a little different for me this year. Had some things happen this year. Had some things happen this couple of days ago, as a matter of fact. I really don't think I should be here. Got into a bad car accident. I'm fine, as you can hear. I'm up and kicking. Had no scratches, nothing on me. My car is about shot, so I have to figure out what I'm going to do with that. But I'm still here, and it's a great thing. And it's given me a whole new kind of insight and perspective on my birthday. I'm still probably not going to celebrate it, but I will appreciate it more for my own self more than ever before. So, happy birthday to me. That's why I'm calling this a special birthday edition. Feel a little different this year than last year, and I'm getting ready to step into some things that God has for me. Getting ready to step into this whole new season that God is getting ready to bring. So I'm excited. And I'm excited about being able to do Real Talk. This has been a dream of mine for years. I'm on my third episode. We're going to keep it going as long as I possibly can, as long as God will allow me to. This is going to be wonderful. Quick shout out, as I always do. Shout out to my boy, Mike Gibbs. He is the mastermind behind the theme song or the theme beat for Real Talk. I appreciate him. That's my dude. I want to give a shout out to my boy, Russell Worthy. He is my brother. He is my friend. He is also the graphic design artist for High Praise Ministries, along with everything else that I do. He's helped design our logos. He's dealt with our T-shirts that we have on our website. He did the logo for Real Talk, and so I appreciate his backing. And of course, as always, I could never go further than what I have gone already without giving a shout out to my wonderful wife. She is the queen. She is Philanda. She is the executive producer of Real Talk. So I'm excited to have her. I love her, appreciate her. She's not on this broadcast, but she will be on next week. So get ready for that. We got some things we're going to talk about and hit next week. That right there, my friends, that's called a tease. Be here next week. Get ready for it. All right, let's go ahead and get started. So the first topic in this first segment that I want to deal with, um, I saw on a Facebook post. My good friend, Sister Tiffany Kendrick, I call the prophetic poetess. That was her nickname back in college, as she is a spoken word artist. She is a prophetess of God, and she's a very deep, introspective thinker. She doesn't think she's that deep, but she's a very deep, introspective thinker. And I'm going to paraphrase what she said on Facebook for the topic for today. So what she said on Facebook, I'm going to use as the first segment topic, is she said this. She asked this question: what is the difference between quitting, in other words, giving up on something, versus realizing you are suited for something else? When you realize your strengths, or when you know yourself, or you know your limits, what is the difference? And I started to think about that as soon as I saw it, and I was like, oh, I got to talk about that, but I'm not going to make a comment about it. I'm going to use this as the first segment for Real Talk. So here we go. What is the difference? It's a wonderfully interesting question, because we're always talking about not quitting. Like, I'm a huge wrestling fan, and one of John Cena's mantras, one of his mottos, one of his catchphrases, as if you will, is never give up. Then you have other people who also use that same mantra, never give up. The Karate Kid, which is one of my favorite movies, or used to be anyway. Cobra Kai, no retreat, no surrender. Those kind of things, that type of ideology is very pervasive in our culture, in our society, in our minds. We teach it to our kids. You don't quit. You don't quit. Don't quit. Keep at it till you can get it. Be successful. You can do anything if you put your mind to it. But I ask the question, real talk, can you really do anything you put your mind to? Or are there certain things that your skill set, your level, your intellect, your who you are, your DNA is only suited for? Are you truly like a master key that opens any door as long as you're put in the hole right? Or are you more like a key in general, where you open the lock that you're fashioned and formatted for? See, right now I still have my key to my car, jacked up as it is, my 2009 Nissan Rogue, right? That key opens that specific Nissan Rogue. There are other Nissan Rogues out on the highway. There are other 2009 Nissan Rogues on the highway. Same make, same model, even the same color. My key does not open their doors. It's very similar. The key is almost identical to that key that opens someone else's Nissan Rogue. But because of the programming of my key, it is only going to work in my car. It will only open my car door. It will only turn my ignition. It will only start my car. Are we like that, or are we like a master key, where if you know how to apply it, you can open everything? And I know what some people will say, well, there are a lot of people who are multi-talented and multifaceted. That just means they have a key that opens up multiple things but doesn't open everything. And I start there because you have to get that kind of mentality, or that type of concept or insight or thought process going for yourself, in order to be able to ask yourself, what's the difference between quitting or simply moving on to something you're better suited at? If I suck at playing basketball, should I keep practicing, or am I wasting my time? If I suck at baseball, should I keep practicing and swinging away, miss after miss after miss? Or should I find something my skill set is better for? I know we use the ideology and the mentality and the statement that you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. But since I've been watching basketball, I love basketball, huge basketball fan. Go Warriors. I hope they win the NBA championship, especially now that I have it on record, because I don't want to go back and play this a year from now or whatever and be like, oh my God, I can't believe they got their butts kicked. Right now they're down 2-1. This is going to be interesting. But anyway, watching the NBA Finals or watching these elite athletes, both on the Toronto Raptors and the Golden State Warriors, watching these all-time elite athletes play this very simplistic, difficult game. I watch some open players or some players not take open shots. And the reason they don't take open shots varies. Sometimes they find a man that's more open than what they are. Sometimes they're too far for the basket for what they're able or what they know their shooting ability can handle. If I can't shoot threes and I'm behind the 3-point line wide open, why would I take a three? Yeah, there's a good chance. There's a chance I may make it, but there's an even better chance that I'm going to miss this shot no matter how open I am, no matter how many times I take that shot. Yes, if I shoot 100 shots, I'm probably going to make a few. But is that few that I make enough to justify all the shots I missed? Should I pass up the open shot to get a better shot? Should I pass to somebody who's better suited for it? Should I drive because I'm better at close range than I am far range? What should I do and how should I classify it? If I stop this, why am I always labeled a quitter? If I don't think I can handle this, if I don't think I can go any further, if I don't think that this thing is going to work for me in this particular time frame or for this particular thing, why would I keep going and wasting time? People waste so much time trying to find or deal with what they want to do as opposed to what they're created to do. Your purpose. Anybody who knows me knows I'm a purpose person, purpose-driven person. I was a purpose-driven person before the Purpose-Driven Life was a book. I ain't saying I could have thought of the book. I sure couldn't have. But I am a person who's always been all about purpose. I was a why person. You got to tell me the reason why before I do it, because I need to know what the purpose is and if this is a purpose that I care about. Always have been. And so with that in mind, why wouldn't I pursue my purpose? I heard Steve Harvey say it this way, and I liked how he put it. This was years ago. He said, you need to learn how to pursue your purpose instead of your passion. Now, I personally believe you should be passionate about your purpose, but every passion you have is not your purpose. And just because I want to do something, or just because I have a small ability to do something, doesn't mean I ought to do it. Let me take you to what Chris Rock said. Y'all know me, I like comedy. Chris Rock said it this way. Chris Rock said, I could drive a car with my feet if I want to. That don't make it a good idea. Just because you have the ability to do something doesn't mean that you should do it. And if that be the case, if I discover that I have a small ability to do it, but it's not something that I can maximize my potential in, am I a quitter for stopping? Because here's how we judge things. We tend to judge things based on the outcome as opposed to the thought process. Let me give you an example. Michael Jordan is arguably the greatest basketball player to ever walk the face of the earth. I don't care if you're a LeBron James fan. I'm sorry, LeBron ain't got nothing on Mike. And the reason for all those who were like, but Bill Russell has way more rings than Mike, it's not just about the number of rings. It's about the impact on the game. Bill Russell did not impact the game like Michael Jordan did. Michael Jordan changed the game while staying dominant, staying relevant, and garnering championship after championship after championship. Once he got them, he almost never stopped getting them. However, with all of these accolades we give to Michael Jordan as a basketball player, there was a time he tried to play professional baseball. And for those who are like, oh my God, yeah, Michael Jordan played baseball, we don't count those times. Here's the thing. Here's why I bring him up in this. Michael Jordan, when he was a kid, tried to play baseball. He said himself it was his father's dream to see him play baseball, not basketball. Michael Jordan quit playing baseball because he saw how good he could be in basketball. Now, we say Michael Jordan is great, and no one would ever label him as a quitter. But by our own definition, Michael Jordan's a quitter. He quit playing baseball. As a kid, he quit playing baseball. He just stopped. He's a quitter. But in reality, he's not a quitter because we're judging the outcome. The outcome is what he quit baseball for, he was great at. He was all-time great at. But when you don't know the outcome, what's the difference? So here is my 2 cents on this topic. The difference between being a quitter and simply trying to move on to something you may be more suitable for is your intention. Am I stopping because this is too difficult? Am I stopping because I'll never get it? If those are your reasons for stopping, I won't label you a quitter. Some things just are too difficult. Calculus is too difficult for me. So don't make no sense for me to keep trying to do calculus. Just doesn't. Here's to me what makes you a quote unquote quitter. If your reasoning for quitting is because someone else made you, I can't be as good as him, so I might as well stop. I'm never going to be as good as her, so I might as well stop. That makes you a quitter. When your mental comparison tells you someone else will make you quit and you stop, you're a quitter. I'm not talking about if somebody gives you some advice, because Charlemagne, he's the radio DJ. I hate to use his tag, but for the sake of podcasting, Charlemagne the God, I just have an issue calling anybody else the God. I don't care. I know why he calls himself that. I understand it. For those who don't know about him, I followed Charlemagne. I listened to his interviews. I know where I love his growth and his evolution from the scum that he was to the man he has become. He calls himself the God for reasons, and I won't get into it. You can look him up in his own interviews for yourself. But that's his radio name, Charlemagne the God. He often says, and I almost lost my train of thought trying to explain about Charlemagne as opposed to the point I was making about quitting. Charlemagne he wanted to originally be a rapper. And his bars were horrible. He couldn't spit for nothing. He had a mixtape that was horrible. And if I'm not mistaken, he looked up to Ludacris. And one of the things Ludacris did was Ludacris also got into radio because that helped him get his music out. So Charlemagne understand the mentality of, I'm going to follow and model myself after successful people in order to try to be successful. He decided to get on the radio. Well, his mentor, after a while, heard his mixtape and told him, your bars are trash. Stick to radio. You're good at it. As a result, the doors that have opened up for Charlemagne as a radio host, as a personality, have been exponential. He has executive produced television shows after television shows. He's behind the scenes doing a whole lot that people don't know about because he doesn't boast about it. You have to really do your research on who he is to understand his actual impact in hip-hop and in radio. He would have never seen that if he had not had the wisdom to listen to his mentor. But if we look at him, he also quit. But his quitting wasn't about, I'll never be as good as Ludacris. His quitting was about, I recognize my limitations and I'm not good at this. No matter how much I practice, no matter how much I try to put effort into it and time into it, I'm not good at this, so why keep doing something I'm not good at? You cannot keep banging your head against the wall, hoping that this wall will one day turn into a door. Recognize your potential, recognize your limitations, realize who you are. Spend some time with you and get to know you so you know your limitations. Not your aspirations, but your limitations. Not your passion, but your purpose. Once you get to do that, once you begin to understand that, once you begin to grow in that, once you begin to do that, then you can see I'm not suited for this. I'm suited for this over here. And if I put all of my effort, time, training, and energy into this right here, this thing over here will blossom and help me. The Bible says this. Let me go ahead and be spiritual for a second. The Bible says it this way. Your gift will make room for you and bring you before great men. Your gift, watch this, not your talent. Your talent is one thing. Your gift is a whole nother. You can have a gift to sing, and you can be talented to sing, and your talent will never get you where your gift will. Proof of it? Go to New York. Go to Detroit. Go to any corner of Detroit. Go to any corner in New York. And I guarantee you'll find somebody who can sing. Especially in the 90s and early 2000s, you'd find groups and people being able to sing all day long. Hit the subway and hear the talent in the subway, whether singing or with instruments or whatever. There is talent in them there hills. But that's talent. These cats are talented. But those with a gift, though, they get on the big stages. I don't care how you feel about Beyonce. That girl is gifted. That woman is gifted. Gifted to do what she does, and is opening doors and bringing her before people she would never have seen if she was just talented. The other members of Destiny's Child, the original Destiny's Child, they were talented. They ain't on Beyonce's level. They're just there. Kelly and Michelle are talented. They ain't on Beyonce's level. And I know some folk will be like, well, that's because daddy pushed them and Beyonce's daddy made sure that she was a lead and this, that, and the third. But listen, it would have never worked if she wasn't gifted. Pursue your purpose. Be passionate about your purpose. Utilize your gifts. Your talents can undergird those things, but they're not supposed to be your focus. Too oftentimes we focus on our talents, or we focus on what we think the outcome of a thing is going to be. Many people want to be a basketball player because they see the fame, the fortune, and the riches that can go along with it, and the exposure that can go along with it. But they don't want to put in the work to be it. Everybody want to be Michael Jordan, but nobody wants to be Michael Jordan. We want the rings, we want the fame, we want the accolades, but we don't want to put in the hundreds of hours of practice time he put in per week to perfect what he does. We don't want to have that competitive fire that says, I'm not going to lose, and so I'm going to make sure I practice as hard as I can, harder than everybody else, to ensure I don't lose. We want to be something, but we don't want to be it. And that's because we're pursuing passions. Your difference between quitting and finding something that you're more suitable for, the difference is in your mentality going behind it. Am I doing this because so-and-so did it? Am I doing this and stop doing this because so-and-so is better than me? Or am I not doing this because I recognize there's something better I may be suited for? Am I pursuing this because I think this is a thing that's in me that I'm supposed to do? You need to make sure you're pursuing purpose. And I wanted to use this as the first topic because I loved the question that she posed. And being that this is my birthday and I'm reflecting on 38 years, I'm 38 years old now, and I can reflect over some things. This is a question that you can begin to reflect on even in your own life. On what am I pursuing? Am I pursuing my passion or my purpose? Am I going to quit because of people? Or am I going to quit because I need to stop wasting time and find something I'm more suited to? Find something that's in me. You can't help but do what's actually in you. It's impossible. I don't care how hard you try to cover it up. Who you are, what you were created to do, will eventually, in some way, shape, form, or fashion, come out of you. And if you're not spending the time with yourself to get to know you, you'll never know what's coming out of you when it comes out. The difference is astronomical. And where it will lead you is untold. You can quit, but is your quitting actually pursuing something better, or is it just stopping? I hope whatever you quit, and I hope some of y'all quit some stuff. Whatever you quit, I hope it is to pursue what's actually in you. Stop wasting time. Hope that's been a good topic for you. We're going to come right back after these messages with segment number 2, and I hope to be able to intrigue y'all some more. We'll be right back. Melodies from the Heart, the first official EP by Jesse Jones. Download your copy now from iTunes, Amazon, Spotify, or wherever music is downloaded. If you love love, make sure to pick up your copy of Melodies from the Heart by Jesse Jones. I promise you'll love it. Welcome back, welcome back, welcome back. All right. Yeah, we're here. All right, so let's go ahead and get ready to get into the second topic here. Our second topic is kind of piggybacking off of topic 1. This one was something that came as a result of a conversation I was having after having read Tiffany's post. So this topic is, like I said, kind of piggybacking off of it, which asks this question. How do you know when it's time to move on from someone? Not so much in terms of relationship, but we can tie that into, but you've been helping someone. You've been trying to be there for someone. How do you know when it's time to stop? And this is one that I know Christians struggle with. We're taught to be helpers. We're taught to be there for people. We're taught to love folk. But let's just have some real talk. That's what this whole podcast is all about. Let's have some real talk. Sometimes people get on your nerves. Sometimes, real talk, people are not worth the trouble. Ooh, I ain't supposed to say that. But it's facts. Let's talk facts, y'all. Sometimes people just ain't worth it. They ain't worth the trouble. They ain't worth the effort. They ain't worth the headache you got to put in. They ain't worth nothing. They're not worth a dime. And the more you exhaust your resources, the more aggravated you feel. Not just your monetary resources, but your time. You ever had somebody that just irritates you so much, you scream every time you see their name come across your phone? Whether it's through text or through phone calls, like, oh my God, why? What do you want now? You ever try to hide from somebody on your phone like you used to hide from the Jehovah's Witnesses back in the day when they would knock on your door? Shh, don't say nothing. Shh, they can hear you. You do that to your phone, but oh my God, I'm not going to send it straight to voicemail, because then they'll know I did it. That'll start a whole other conversation I don't want to deal with. I'm not going to text him back right away. And then when I finally do text him back, I'm going to tell him I never got their text. You ever had somebody like that? I have a bunch of folk like that. I'm a pastor, so I have a bunch of folk like that. Where I just can't stand talking to them. I cannot stand answering their texts. Now, some folk are going to hear this and they're immediately going to think, oh my God, he don't answer my text right away. Or, oh my God, once or twice he's told me that he didn't get my text. No, I don't do that all the time. So it may not be you. But it may be you. I ain't going to make no promises one way or the other. All I know is I have a bunch of people who make me feel that way. I continue to help them, though, because I see value in it. I see growth, even if it is incrementally, baby steps. So how do you know when it's time to give up on them? Oh, I know the Christians are going to go crazy with this one, but we ain't supposed to give up. Jesus didn't give up on you. So why are you going to give up on people? Because I ain't Jesus. And understand something now. Jesus may not have gave up on nobody that we know of, but Jesus sure didn't help everybody. Take the scripture that talks about the woman with the issue of blood. If you really read it and not be so wrapped up in the miracle that is the healing that the woman of blood received, you'll see Jesus left a whole bunch of folk hanging. Jesus had people thronging themselves at him, the Bible says. They were thronging themselves, which means they were throwing themselves at him, pushing to get to him. They were almost in a mob-like mentality. Jesus, heal me. Jesus, touch me. Lord, save me. I need you to deliver me. I need this. I need that. Jesus, Jesus, Jesus. And he kept right on walking to where he was going. All of them folk, Jesus didn't touch, didn't heal, didn't speak a word to. All of them. Matter of fact, the Bible also says, the poor you shall have with you always. Now we think about poor, we're always thinking about money, that these are poor people in money. But understand, you can have a poor mentality. You can have poor self-esteem. You can have poor a whole lot of things. And because of that, you are poor. They always going to be around. They're always going to be around with there's always going to be people around with some funky attitude. There's always going to be people around with some tragic, trifling. Woo! Almost got a little too real for y'all. Almost got a little too real. You always going to have some people like that. I'm going to leave that in too. I could cut this off and start over, but I ain't going to do that. I'm going to leave that in. I'm going to let y'all know how real I'm getting. That almost came out. Lord help, Lord help, Lord help. But you going to always have people like that. You always going to have some people with some trifling attitudes. And some ignorant stuff that's going on. You always got some people with some poor spirits and poor hearts and sob stories and all of this. You always going to have that in your life. That don't mean I have to try to help everybody. I cannot drain and delete myself trying to help you get ahead. Because watch this now. If I kill myself to help you get ahead, what good does that do for the thing that I was called to do? If I give you chance after chance after chance after chance, and it cuts me and kills me, what good does that do for me or the other people that I'm called to help? If I allow you to become a burden on my life, an unnecessary yoke around my neck, dead weight, what good does that do me? What good does that do the things that I'm called to do? Sometimes people just gonna get left behind. I say this to a couple of my members all the time. You are not God. Stop trying to be God for everybody. Stop trying to take God's place. Sometimes you just gotta let go so that God can deal with them, And sometimes, here's the part folk ain't gonna like. Some Christians go hear this and they ain't gonna like me for saying it. And some Christians go like, oh my God, somebody finally said it out loud. Sometimes you just have to be content with somebody going to hell. Whether it is actual hell or their life going to hell. Preferably their life going to hell as opposed to their soul. Why their life going to hell? Because sometimes it takes your life going to hell for you to recognize, I need to change. For you to recognize, I got to do better. For you to recognize, I can't keep doing the same thing over and over again. For you to be able to actually hear the advice and the wisdom of whoever was trying to talk to you. Sometimes your life just got to go to hell. And sometimes I, as a person trying to help you, have to help you by letting your life go to hell. Sometimes I have to help you by not being there for you. Thank you, Holy Spirit, for the example that just hit my head. So watch this. Y'all know my ankle was broke. I talk about that a whole lot, especially on this podcast. I've been talking about last 2 episodes. I'm going to talk about it again this episode. Here's some things I learned from this. So when I first broke my ankle, they put me in a cast. And I was in a cast for a month and a half, about 8 weeks. I was in this cast. Almost 8 weeks. It's closer to 6.5 weeks, something like that. In this cast. My ankle, when they took the cast off, wasn't healed. But they had to take the cast off, watch this, so that the rest of the ankle could heal properly. So that while I was trying to get the ankle healed, I didn't do a detriment to the rest of my body, especially my right side, because my right side had not been used. So the muscles were becoming weaker and my mobility was becoming less. And pretty soon, if they kept the cast on long enough, I would not have been able to do what I need to do with my right side. It's called atrophy. Sometimes it happens quickly, sometimes it happens slowly. But in a cast, you're not using the muscles you would normally use to hold yourself up, to bend and to move and contort. All those things, your ligaments aren't being used, your joints aren't being used, and so it can be stiff. The first day out of that cast, it felt wonderful and it sucked all at the same time because it was difficult. It was weird trying to get my balance back because my muscles hadn't quite worked yet. So what they did after they gave me the cast, they put me in a boot. The boot was to help me relearn how to give myself support while at the same time giving the freedom enough to get the muscles working and the tightness enough to keep my ankle healing. What am I saying in all this? Sometimes you can help somebody so much that you are killing their ability to help themselves. You are killing their understanding, their openness as to what they need to do to help themselves to get out of a situation or to think a thing through or to get to the next level or whatever the case may be. If I can always come to you and you do it for me, why do I need to do it? So I have to recognize, am I being a help to this person or am I being a crutch to this person? And I don't even want to say crutch. Let me say it the way I want to say it. Am I being a help to this person or am I being a hurt to this person? Am I being a detriment, a hindrance to this person's growth and their development? Am I hurting more than I am helping? And you have to be honest with yourself and recognize you're hurting more than you're helping. And you can recognize you're hurting more than you're helping if you really pay attention. Because the hurt that comes initially will never seem like hurt. Because the hurt is going to feed your ego. Your sense of, ooh, they need me. Ooh, I'm important. Ooh, I'm making an impact because they keep coming to me and they trust me. And it feels good to be trusted. It feels good to be wanted. It feels good. But eventually you could be their crutch. And then you become the only person they come to. They will seek you before they seek God. Your word becomes law in their life. So you become the God in their life. And at some point, you got to realize I got to let them go. I can't help you no more. And in a relationship, it's the same way. Sometimes you have to realize, this relationship runs its course. I can't stay in this no more. And here's a news flash. Here's a real talk tidbit that's going to help some folk and make some other folk mad. Some folk will call this a hot take. I really don't care what you call it. Here's truth. One of the ways that you can recognize whether or not it's time to move on or not has nothing to do with your happiness. Your happiness is irrelevant in a relationship. Oh, he didn't say that. What do you mean? You cannot burden someone else with the responsibility of making you happy. First of all, you can't even make your own self happy. And that's the problem. You don't make your own self happy. So if you can't make your own self happy, how in the world am I supposed to make you happy? You cannot burden people with the responsibility of making you happy. That's why your happiness in a relationship is irrelevant, because your happiness is on you. It's your job in the relationship to make yourself happy. It's my job to contribute to your happiness, but your job to make you happy. Now, if you ain't making yourself happy, ain't nothing I can do to make you happy. That's not your criteria. To understand whether or not it is time to go or not. Are you better now than you were a year ago? 5 years ago? Do you see yourself on the upswing? In other words, is this person adding to your life more than they are taking away from it? Watch this now. Are you adding to their life more than you're taking away from it? Let that be your guiding principle. Yeah. I know Christians. I know saved folk. I know church folk. I know. What about love? What about Jesus? They got to be in the middle of it. If you don't have love in your relationship ain't going to work. If you ain't got Jesus in the center of it, and to be you, them, and Jesus, this relationship ain't going to work. Yeah. I get all that. But what I'm saying is this. Even with Jesus in the center of it, I can still not be adding to your life. Jesus don't make me add to your life. Our jointly fitness together causes me to add to your life. Love don't make me add to your life. Love means I'm willing to be open and sacrifice for you, and I'm willing to give all to you. Yes, but my all may not be enough. And if my all ain't enough, why are we still here? If Jesus in the middle of the relationship ain't keeping us, why are we still here? You have to recognize walking away, friendship or relationship, is not necessarily a bad thing. It's just not. It's a hard truth to come to. It's a hard truth to recognize. I'm not saying walk away for just anything. I'm saying truly evaluate it. And I'm not going to use the old soul food cliche. If you ever saw the movie Soul Food, Big Mama said, listen, make yourself a list, 2 lists. Draw a line straight down a piece of paper. And on one side, you put the good. And on the other side, you put the bad. And you write down all the things that are good about this relationship. And all the things that he or she does good for you. And on the other side, you write all the things that's bad about this relationship. And all the things that make this relationship bad. And if the good outweighs the bad, then you stay. And if the bad outweighs the good, then you go. I'm never going to deal with that. I'm simply saying this. Evaluate, am I getting better? Am I on the uptick more than I'm on the downtick. Because love ain't gonna make us on the uptick. I can love you with everything in me. You can love me with everything in you, and it still not cause us to be better. Jointly fit means we're going to build each other, not be stagnant, not be flatlined. We're going to build each other. We're going to challenge each other. We're going to grow with each other. If we ain't doing that, what we here for? The wife is the helpmeet. In order for her to help me and help meet, what has to happen is she has to be able to cover my weaknesses consistently enough to make my weaknesses look like a strength. As her covering, I'm supposed to do the same for her weaknesses so her weaknesses look like a strength. That's how you help build one another. You can make your own self happy. And you should. Allow the other person the freedom to contribute to your happiness, but they ain't supposed to make you happy. Make your own self happy. Stop being selfish. Stop being selfish and lazy. Stop trying to make everybody else make you happy. You want to go ahead, let me go ahead and say this. No, I won't say that. I know this is real talk, but some things I'm still not going to say. You want to be happy, go be happy. Do some things that make you happy. Go to the gun range. If that makes you happy sometime, go ahead and go on to the gun range. You want to eat something? Go ahead and eat something. Make yourself happy. Be happy. When you are with somebody, you're supposed to bring them into your world, yes, but you don't force them into your world. You allow them the opportunity to come into your world. That don't mean they got to come in. And if they don't come in, that's fine, but be happy anyway. I love wrestling. My wife does not like wrestling. She will sometimes watch it with me, and sometimes she's like, I'm done with this. Matter of fact, she watched it more when we were dating than she does now. And part of that, I believe, was to get me. But now she got me. I don't need to watch wrestling. Forget that. I really don't care for it. Okay, cool. I'm still going to watch it because this is what helps keep me sane. I'm not going to stop it because it's not something you enjoy. This is something I enjoy. I do this for me, not for us. This helps make me happy. She has her stuff. She has her DIY shows and she has well, she used to have the wedding shows, but now she has the DIY shows. Sometimes she watches reality TV, and other times she's involved in her game, and she's got a bunch of other things that she likes to watch that are for her. That I want to drill my eyeballs out the back of my skull if I have to watch again. Much like she feels about wrestling. So, we go ahead and we do it. We do what we do. Separately. And we come back together. Just because you do it separately don't mean you can't come back together. But when you can't do it separately, when you won't make your own self happy, thank you. I like how that was getting ready to come out. I know I stopped myself in the middle of saying it because I liked it in my head before it hit my mouth. Now let me go ahead and say it. If you can't make your own self happy, you'll make the other person miserable. I'll say that one more time so you catch it. If you don't make your own self happy, inevitably you will make the other person miserable. Your discontent will cause the person you love to be miserable. How do I know when to walk away? When that person doesn't care that they're miserable. When that person doesn't care, they're not growing with me. Even in a relationship, they're not growing with me. In a friendship, if they're not growing themselves, they don't need my help anymore. In a relationship, if we can't grow together, we can't be together. Because check this, in any relationship, friendship, courtship, marriage, whatever, you will not be the same person next year. If you can't grow with me and flow with me and evolve with me as I evolve and grow, you gonna wind up being with somebody you no longer recognize because you were so infatuated with the past. You can't get on board with who they have become based off of experience and based off of life and evolution and growth. And then what happens is you become bitter with who they are because you're stuck on who they were. Well, if that's the case, we got to go. We can no longer be. Then the reason we can no longer be is because we're not growing together. That's when you walk away. You were not wrong. You were not bad. You were not a horrible person for walking away when there is no growth. My wife says this all the time, and I love her. I love hearing her say it. Whatever is not growing is dying. It is a fact of life. When a tree stops growing, that's when it starts dying. When you stop growing, you start dying. When plants stop growing, they start dying. Any living thing that stops growing starts dying. The death process starts. Sometimes it's slow, sometimes it's fast, but it starts the moment you stop growing. So your relationship will die and starts dying the moment y'all stop growing together. Your friendship dies or starts to die the moment they're not growing and the moment you're not growing. It's inevitable. It is all right to walk away when growth ceases. Because the end of growth, watch this, means the end of your season in their life. Sometimes you just gotta know when to let go. If you don't know when to let go, you're gonna be holding on and holding on and holding on when you don't need to. And it'll eventually kill you. It will. You'll grow bitter, you'll grow angry, and the worst part is you will cause other people pain because of what this person did to you. You will allow your past to kill you. That's a wonderful transition. We're going to take a break and we're going to come back with our third segment, which starts on that note right there. Your past can kill you. We're going to pay these bills. We'll be right back. And we're back once again. All right. Here we are with our third and final topic of the evening or of the podcast. Hopefully you have been enjoying this. If you've been hearing this in just segments or what have you, you've been hearing the whole thing, I appreciate you. I really do. If this is your, just hearing a bit of this here, a bit of this there, somebody has hipped you to this, and this is the segment that you found appealing. I appreciate you again for listening. So let's get into this third topic real quick before we get up out of here. I ended off by saying, don't let your past kill you. That's a very, very true statement, and is one that a lot of people know. But it's not one that honestly we do a whole lot. We kill ourselves with our past. We really do. We let past things control us and kill our future. Not just our present, but our future. Let's start with relationships, since that's where I left off at, and I'll kind of expand it other ways. But the easiest way to see it, I guess, would be in a relationship. Freddie hurt you. Johnny hurt you. Teresa hurt you. Susie hurt you. Now, new man, new woman got to pay for it. Every mistake someone else made, you're making this new person pay for it. Because someone in your past did it. You won't ever let another man take control, because the last man who took control was abusive. You won't ever let another woman that close to you open up to another woman, because the last woman used your feelings against you. And what that does is it chokes the very life out of what is and what can be. You had a bad experience at church one time. Now you won't ever go to church. You don't trust no pastors because one pastor did something stupid. And now your entire ability to have a true, edifying, bona fide relationship with Jesus Christ is hindered. That's the word I want to use. Because of your past. Do you realize that your past can either be the building blocks for your future or the wrecking ball for it? You can use your past and build upon it and grow upon it, make something beautiful and magnificent out of it. Or you can use your past as a wrecking ball to tear everything down you try to build. All because it's your past. When is the last time, truly the last time, you were honest about your past with someone else? I know we always talk about dealing with ourselves and investigating ourselves. Yeah, but if you had the answer within yourself, you wouldn't have the question. Do you really understand why you feel the way you do about stuff you feel? In psychology, they call these things triggers. Do you really understand why you're quote unquote triggered by what you're quote unquote triggered by? Do you understand why you react the way you do? It's your past. Your past drives everything about your present and has the potential to drive everything about your future. Your past experience, your past knowledge, your past passion, your past purpose, your past whatever will always be the indicator of what you do and what you're going to do until you understand it, so that your past no longer is in the driver's seat. Your past is supposed to be in the back seat. Your present should be in the front seat passenger side, and your future should be what you're driving to. But as long as you let your past control it, you're going to swerve all over the place, do all kinds of crazy stuff. Your past fears keep you from pushing and motivating and doing what you need to do. You cannot allow your past to kill you. And it will kill you. Your past will alter your personality. You used to be a wonderfully nice person until one person broke your heart. And now you're a piece of trash to everybody in the world because one person was a piece of trash to you. It's altered your personality. You doing things and saying things you normally in you would never normally do or say because of your past. You cannot allow your past to kill you. You cannot allow your past to take hold of everything you got and drive it wherever it wants to go. You must say to your past, you no longer have control over me. Watch this. Seek help. Oftentimes, professional help. I stole this analogy from somebody else that I heard say it. I think it was a podcast I heard it say it. I don't remember, but I really like it. We have no problem taking our car to a mechanic. We have no problem calling a plumber to fix our pipes. We have no problem going to a doctor when we're sick. But we have every problem going to a psychologist or a counselor when we're mentally messed up. Now, a mechanic specializes in cars. A plumber specializes in plumbing. A doctor specializes in the inner workings of the body. Counselors and psychologists specialize in the mind, how the mind works. Why would you not go to the specialist to get your issue taken care of? To understand why you are how you are. Why you're doing what you're doing. Why you fall for who you fall for. These are all things that the mind does, watch, because of your past. And if you're not willing to understand it, your past will kill you. Some way, some shape, some form, some fashion, somehow, that past is going to beat that tail. Your past is going to mess you up. I remember as a kid, I would hear Bishop Melvin Eugene Clark Sr., the church in the round, he would say this statement. He would say, don't let your today darken your tomorrow. Now, he was talking about the present. But I would say, don't let your yesterday cloud your today. Because what your past does, in order to kill you, your past clouds your judgment. Your past clouds your perception. Your past clouds your effective reasoning. Your past is illogical more times than not, but has a wonderful way of communicating with you to make you seem and make you feel like it's logical. It really does. And if you don't realize it's illogical, it's going to run you into some illogical situations. You cannot let your past kill you. So what? You tried and it didn't work. If this is something that's in you, like we talked about in segment 1, if this is something that's in you, you're going to have to fail sometime to learn. Let your past build you, not kill you. Learn from the mistake. Grow from the mistake. Be greater and better from the mistake. Don't let your past kill you. You walking away from a perfectly good relationship because your past shows you these false red flags. Tying into segment 2, how do you know when it's time to walk away from somebody? You sure don't rely on your past. Yes, I know your past can help be indicators and these things come up, but honestly, oftentimes your past will bring stuff up to you that ain't got nothing to do with this person. Because all your past knows is associated with the past person who did it. Your past associates with past people, not past experience. You turn past people into past experience. Once you recognize that and detach your past from your past, or your past experience from your past people, you'll be able to see your past experience with a much clearer eye that you can then build from your past and learn from it, as opposed to be killed from it. So here's a takeaway. Take some time. And if you can't afford counseling or a psychologist or whatever, and you just really are trying to get this, or really want to understand some things, take some time and evaluate yourself, and your actions. And ask yourself, with every action that you do, why am I doing this? And if you don't know why you're doing it, you can't come up with a reason why you're doing it. That's something you need to check on. If you just do it because this is what you're used to doing, I would say check on it. Your past is in control. And if your past is in control, it's going to eventually kill you. Because past don't like to change. Past don't like to evolve. Past likes to always make a comeback. Ask the people of the South who want to see the South rise again. Because they're stuck in the past and they don't like the change. Ask any grouchy old man, get yourself off my lawn, you kids. Because they don't like change. Your past does not like change. Watch this. Your present doesn't like to be replaced. And your future can't stand that it's not here. If you don't recognize that, your past will kill you. Your present will cause you to be stagnant. And your future will drive you crazy. Talk to someone. Get with someone. Professional, not your friend. I ain't talking about Pookie down the street. I ain't talking about your cousin Nuck Nuck. Talk to someone professional that can talk you through your past. Once you do that, once you begin to take care of that, you'll master your past. And I promise you, the things that occur in your life, the relationship you deal with, the pursuits that you go after will be so much more great. I know it's not proper English, but I'm going to say it again. So much more great. Because now you can see them and feel them and experience them with a purity that you never had before. All because you decided not to let your past kill you. Now watch this. I'm saying this and I'm done. Notice I didn't say your past control you. I didn't say let go of your past. I said master your past. It's a difference. I don't want to let go of my past because I'll lose my experience and I'll lose the things that I've gained and I've learned from it if I let it go. Don't let go of the past. Master it. Understand it so that you can build upon your past instead of your past being a wrecking ball and destroying everything you try to build. I hope you all have enjoyed this broadcast. I hope you've enjoyed spending some time with me with some real talk. I hope that I've been of help to you. I really, really do. Listen, do me a favor if you've enjoyed this podcast. Subscribe to this podcast no matter what platform you're listening on, whether it be Google, whether it be, I can't hardly think of the other ones. If you're on Anchor, if you're listening on Spotify, however you are hearing this broadcast, this podcast, do me a favor and subscribe. Just subscribe to it. Just hit that follow button. Follow me. That way you can get the alerts every time a new podcast comes out. I'm trying to make sure they come out every Thursday. I'm a little late today with episode 3 because of all that's going on this week and all that's going on today. It's been interesting. So, yeah, hit that follow button, hit that subscribe button, subscribe, follow us, no matter what platform you're on. Rate this podcast. If you have the ability to rate this podcast, rate this podcast. Give me that 5 stars. This podcast has been good for you. You like it, you enjoy it. Rate it with the 5 stars. Hit me with them comments. If this has just been okay for you, rate it with 5 stars anyway. I promise you I'll earn your 5 star. If you don't like this podcast, rate it 5 stars anyway. I promise you I'm going to try to find a topic that you'll enjoy. And if you just can't bring yourself to rate it a 5 star, don't rate it at all. If you can't find yourself to bring yourself to say something positive about the podcast in the comments, don't say nothing at all, but email me. Email the Real Talk Podcast. I'd love to hear from you, especially your criticisms as to how this can get better. I've been hearing my critics all for the last 3 weeks, and I've taken some of their advice. I've thrown some out the window. I'm going to be honest. I don't take everything, but I've taken some, and I've tried to utilize, and I'm still trying to find some ways to utilize some others. I've thrown some other things out. We keep working, we keep evolving, we keep growing, trying to make this a phenomenal, informative, inspirational, and just motivational, and just a podcast that's a safe space. That's what I start calling this podcast. This is the Real Talk Podcast that's a safe space for your thoughts. We're going to create something that this country no longer has, and especially for Christians, we no longer are able to have. We're going to take the mask off, talk about some things. We're going to get into some other things as we go down the road and just have some real talk about it. As a matter of fact, I plan on next week when the Queen will be our guest. She'll be our one of the guest podcasters. She's going to come on and we're going to have a conversation about this abortion ban that's going on. Something the church has been much too silent on. So I promise you, you do not want to miss this podcast because I'm not going to say what a lot of y'all think I'm going to say. So you got to tune in to find out what's going on. My wife has some opinions, some things she wants to express as well, and I cannot wait to hear it. I could not do this topic without making sure that I had a woman present, and the best woman I know to have present is her. So again, if you've enjoyed this podcast, subscribe to it. Do me a favor as well. I would really appreciate if you listening would become a valued listening subscriber, a VLS. You would become a valued listening subscriber. If you're on Anchor, especially if you're on Anchor, there's a way that you can donate to this podcast monthly. Very small amount. I'm not asking for much. Excuse me. Not asking for a bunch. Just a very small amount monthly. It'll go a long ways into helping us improve this podcast and doing some other things that I would like to do to make this podcast great and to make an experience for all of my listeners, a wonderful experience. A lot of things I want to be able to do that will be beneficial for our listeners. So become a valued listening subscriber. And down the road a piece, not too long from now, there's going to be some benefit to you being a valued listening subscriber. But get on the bandwagon now, because if you get on the bandwagon now, there's more that's going to come for you who come first, who are the first wave. There'll be more that come for you when things blow the way they're supposed to blow up. So I encourage you, become a valued listening subscriber. Not only that, listen, I'm also the pastor of High Praise Ministries. And our services are every Saturday at 12 noon, with the exception of this weekend. I will be going out of town this weekend, so we will not be having service. But if you would like a church home, whether you are in the Atlanta area or you are abroad, we have membership available for you. We would like for you to come and join us and talk with us and allow the Word of God to hit you in a way it's never hit you before. You can do so by emailing the High Praise Ministries Facebook page. We can talk about it. I can tell you how you can become a satellite member. But please, watch our services, Next Level Service, every Saturday, 12:15 on the High Praise Ministries Facebook page. We stream all of our services. Come on out. Enjoy the Word. Let God touch you. Let His Word wash over you and help you as you onward go. I'd appreciate you coming out and listening to High Praise Ministries Next Level Service. I really do appreciate you all. do me a favor. Once again, subscribe to this podcast, like and share it all across. Let everybody in your social networks know that this is the podcast to listen to. It's up-and-coming podcast. Get on the train now, because you don't want to try to catch the train once the train is already running. All aboard! Come on the train. As I close, as I'm always going to say, no matter what you do, no matter who you are, no matter what you're dealing with, remember, always, and I do mean always, keep it real. This has been the Real Talk Podcast. I hope you've enjoyed. Thank you for listening. This has been another episode of the Real Talk Podcast. We hope you've enjoyed what you've heard. We hope it's fed your mind, your soul, and enriched your life. Feel free to submit all questions to the Real Talk Podcast at realtalkhpm@gmail.com. That's realtalkhpm@gmail.com. No matter what you do, no matter where you're going, no matter what happens in your life, always keep it real. Real talk. We out.